on Monday because he talks about that box office. He's all about BO.
Hey, I depending upon what country you're from, everybody's about BO. But look, I'm going to say it this way, and I'm going to draw your attention to lower on the chart here at number 4. Final Destination Deadlines, Bloodlines, whatever. That thing is killing
Deadlines? Is that what you just called it?
I did, yeah. I'm just saying, it still earned another $10 million, Tom. This is the little film that could, and it's the best and highest performing Final Destination movie at 111 million domestic.
Predict that?
And also for the characters in the movie, Deadline is a very suitable title because that's what they're living under.
That's true. It's very, very true. And also, you have to remember, this is Tony Todd's last adventure in film before he left us. So this honestly is overperforming. It's at $3,400. This is a film that's been in theaters for a little bit now, and it's killing it. And congratulations on another, less than 50% drop for it. But look, we can go back to films that we could congratulate. And honestly, the first two films here, whether it be Lilo and Stitch or Mission Impossible, fell at the same rate, minus 57%.
I'm not surprised.
This almost never happens. This is insanity how little the fall was. And you look at it and you go, okay, Lilo and Stitch at 63 million this last weekend. That's great, right? That's just phenomenal. And Mission Impossible 8 at 27.2, or actually technically 27.3, probably by the end of today. It did very, very well. You are looking at a film for Lilo and Stitch right now, already tuned into at least $1.1 to $1.2 billion at the end of the run. And it's still earning per theater $14,000 in its second weekend.
Well,
per
let
theater.
me draw attention to one thing there.
Yeah.
Look at Lilo's and Stitch's total gross, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the Thunderdolts.
Oh, yeah.
That's in just 1 week.
Yeah.
Compared to their entire run.
Yeah.
It's already made more than Captain America as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and now the argument is Thunderdolts, people are wondering whether or not it actually crosses the $400 million threshold globally. Yeah. I think it's getting less and less likely, especially as we get closer and closer to other films to see. There's a bunch of things, including a sleeper hit coming up called F1 with Brad Pitt, that I think is going to do better than what Sony's adventure into IndyCar racing did. If you remember Gran Turismo and how that surprised people, this is kind of the pro version of that with Brad Pitt. So I have a feeling it'll do all right.
We'll see how it does, yeah. But you're right about Final Destination.
I've seen lots. It's an Apple Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an Apple production.
So they actually releasing it in theaters?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're releasing it in theaters. It's beautifully done.
It looks beautiful.
Don't know emotionally what the story is or whether it has any kind of storytelling value. Again, it's one of the problems with sports stories, right? Oh, no, he's losing. Oh, no, people are mad at him. Oh, he's the wrong person. One of the movies that actually did it okay was Ford versus Ferrari. It's one of the few movies
that was a great film.
Kind of made sense of it all.
I'll make a second argument there with Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. That film also very well done. It added a psychological component and discussion, and of course romance. It did really well. I have a feeling that the adversarial relationship that's established with Brad Pitt and the other character is going to be the driving force behind this particular
but it seems to me that they're using a little bit of sleight of hand to try to really nail down the verisimilitude, and that's their big calling card, which I think is a mistake, because we all know there's a lot of successful movies with a MacGuffin that is absolutely ridiculous, but we end up believing it within the context of how well the movie is made.
Yeah,
like the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones. We know it doesn't exist. Sorry for Christian.
Hold on.
And so and it doesn't melt faces when it's opened.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
It gives you a bit of indigestion, is what happens.
I felt like, you know, you open that up and all of a sudden the Valkyries come flying out and you get
That's-
the music, the
Dun,
Wagner.
dun,
Depends on
dun, 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 dun.
So
You know,
F-
speaking of
F1
Tom
wait, wait.
Cruise and
I'm an
F1,
F1 fan, and
Yeah.
they do some interesting things. For instance, they've got, you know, in F1 they will line up all the drivers and have them announced individually. And
Yeah.
in the movie, they got permission to stick a Pitt and his driving partner right at the very end of the line, just as the camera is passing.
Yeah.
So he's right next to Verstappen and Hamilton.
Yeah. Yeah. They did it during.
And
Yeah,
it's really a neat trick. It's like that. I don't know if you saw that movie with it was about in the Caribbean, where some Brit was went to the Caribbean to review the police, and the police would just like walk just to make it look like there was a big long line. They would assemble quickly, right onto. It had who was it? My mind is going.
That's
But,
fine.
so they've done all these different things. They also rebuilt an F2 car to make it look like an F1 car and actually stuck it in some of the time trials.
Yes.
So it's reality looks
And practice
like it's
sessions.
going to be full
And-
on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the film. I think it's going to be a real sleeper, Paul. So I
Are you a
really do
racing
think it's.
fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be really, really good. And that's why I was so high on Gran Turismo before it released in theaters. I'm like, guys, you're going to want to go see this. It's going to be excitement,
Well,
constantly.
Next month in July, my son and I are going to Budapest, Hungary, and he's a car racing nut, and I haven't told him, so no one online say this, is
Yeah,
that
don't tell
I
him.
have booked a paddock pass and a race pass to the F1 racetrack in Hungary called the Hungaria Ring, and not the Longoria Ring. That's something else.
what a good
Oh,
dad
that's-
you are.
And
that's an OnlyFans.
and it's going to be for the professional GT racing event.
That's
so
awesome.
so it's
I'm-
going to be insane.
I'm
So
surprised you're not.
no.
I'm surprised you're not taking him to Las Vegas.
I'm
Wow.
just glad you're not spilling any surprises online or anything.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, he doesn't watch my
Spoiler alert.
show.
They just
For sure.
they just had an F1 race yesterday, right?
In
Barcelona.
Spain.
Yeah. I want
Yeah,
to.
Did anybody catch the news about the people making the F1 movie talking about why they never considered Tom Cruise for this movie?
Yes, I thought that was a great story. Tell everybody. That's
Kind
a
of
good one.
felt like they were plugging Mission Impossible to me. It's like
It did. Yeah.
we would never want to. I would never consider Tom Cruise for this because he likes to get involved in his own stunts and he doesn't know his own limits. And even the, I think it was the stunt coordinator that's worked on some of the Mission Impossible movies said, "Oh yeah, Tom's capable, but they wouldn't have wanted his capabilities on this movie."
He's too dangerous.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous. They didn't want to
Yeah.
write that check.
Well, basically, it's kind of like the Bruce Lee argument. We don't want him because he's too fast for the camera.
Right.
But he was too fast for the camera. But it only shoots at 24 frames a second. That was back when they used film. But look, so really the story this weekend, and it's the one I focused on in my video this morning. The Karate Kid Legends is just a kung fu or karate fu flop at this point. At $21 million, it's $4 million behind their lowest projection.
I'm
They were-
hesitant to call it a flop though, because it
Well,
actually only cost $45 million to make.
Okay, but would you agree that this is the one weekend it has a shot at making the most box office?
No, it should have opened a different weekend. Opening up against Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible was a mistake. Ralph
What do
Macchio was wrong. They should have put this out in between the two the
The two
mid-season
seasons of Cobra Kai or
Yeah.
the split season of Cobra Kai. Yeah.
And that doesn't. And look, I'm not trying. Look, I didn't hate the movie. There is a decent movie in there. It is not great though. Like that's part of the reason people are looking at it going, "Why should I even bother with this?"
Yeah.
Because people are smart. They can see what it is. They can see it's a gimmick. And unfortunately, it's the gimmick that kills the movie.
And look, my comment in the video is that, and by the way, I say a lot of things about this movie that, and I haven't seen it, nor will I. First of all, this had zero appeal to the old school fans. And it looked like it was made for China, which is something I mentioned last night, Tom. But at the same time, this is not going to have a solid hold. It's not going to hold at a 57% drop next weekend. This was it. This was the weekend it had to make its money. It is.
Well, and the reason I keep saying it doesn't matter is because you and I both know
It's sold.
Netflix probably prepaid for this thing.
Yeah, Sony does have a pretty solid deal with selling it off early, and this is going to have to get sold off early if they want to get their money back. But 21 million wasn't enough on a $45 million feature that, you know, I likely think they spent inordinately more money on promoting than they should have.
They didn't really promote the movie, though. That's the problem too.
Dude, I couldn't get away from this thing.
I didn't see hardly any.
Yeah, I couldn't get away from it, whether it be YouTube or other social media. And
That tells me it's local.
Yeah,
I was going to say, do you want to know what the number one comment on our review is? I didn't even know this was coming out.
Wow. All right, that's fair. I mean, maybe it was very specific, like regionally,
or at least it was
That's
the
what I'm
first day or
thinking.
so. But yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because look, to me, this was a made for China movie. It really, truly was, and they're trying to conflate again, which I hate, karate and kung fu. So I really wasn't
actually no. In this movie, they do distinguish the difference. I will say that. So
okay. Regardless, everything about this just read wrong from the beginning. And again, I'm not surprised that it's, you know, it started off in third place. I didn't anticipate it to beat out either of these films. In fact, I didn't expect it to beat out Final Destination Bloodlines either. I thought this was going to possibly start in fourth place, but it eked it out, although these numbers could change.
Final Destination being at fourth place still is a pretty big deal, because going back to what I said, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago now? I said this movie's going to do pretty good. I even predicted it could do what the Halloween 2018 sequel did, and it did.
Oh yeah.
In fact, it did better than.
By far, Tom, this is the best, not only opening of all the previous films, but it's the best gross. And we're only how many weeks in?
Well,
I mean,
not just the best gross. Like Halloween 2018, this movie has now outgrossed the entire franchise by itself.
Yeah.
See, because people, I don't know if you remember that, but when Halloween 2018 came out, including the Rob Zombie remakes, that movie outgrossed the entire franchise in one fell swoop. The entire franchise up to this point, not counting this movie, for Final Destination, had only made $71 million.
Isn't that crazy?
This is insane how good this movie's doing. Yeah. And that's why I kind of had a feeling, I had an inkling. I'm like, this is going to pull in Halloween 2018. And it did just that.
Well, the numbers are great, but again,
also, for the record, it's got the highest Rotten Tomatoes ranking of all 5 of the.
Well, here's the thing, and I want to ask Andre, because he's seen this. I've heard some rumors that they used AI for some of the effects in this, Andre.
I wasn't too impressed with the effects. I mean, like special effects wise, if you told me this movie came out in like 2005 with the others, I'd have believed you.
But you didn't hate the movie overall. You actually said...
Oh, no, I liked the movie. I thought it was all right. Yeah. I mean, it's a movie that comes from the Scream school of filmmaking, and I freaking hate that. But this was fairly okay anyway. I kind of liked it. I mean, it was like some human tragedies. I felt really bad for the 2 people that married into the wrong family. Let's put it that way. But overall, yeah, no, this was a solid movie. I don't remember like being pulled out of the effects or anything like that. You tell me it's AI, I believe you. But I will say that special effects wise, there was nothing here that they couldn't have done 20 years ago, and probably had looked better 20 years ago. To be completely honest.
Well, there you go. And it's funny because, you know, the Scream thing, the reason why I think it was different than the Scream craze at the time was that the script technically predated Scream, and I don't know if you remember me telling you this.
That's probably why it's better.
Yeah, because it initially started life as an X-Files episode.
That's right.
Regardless, it hung in there. It being in fourth place is still magical to me, and I have a feeling this not only will be the greatest of all.
It's one of the most profitable films of the year, actually.
It is. Yeah, it made a ton of money. And then in fifth place, to move on here, A24 did a dud again. They're turning into Lionsgate. They are in every other film bomb factory now. But Bring Her Back did not start out well at 7 million, and it didn't come out in enough theaters.
What's it even about?
Yeah,
it's a horror film. And I can't even give you the plot lines. That's how uninterested I became with this. With
Sinners is even hanging in there with.
Yeah, and you know who said they aren't going to make a Sinners sequel? Ryan Coogler. He says he has no intention, which is good because I don't know how you follow this up. I think this is, again, the best way he could play the race car possible. Regardless,
did Warner Brothers bring another director and screenwriter to come in and do a Sinners 2? Do you think they will?
I don't think. I don't think
they own the rights to it.
Okay.
Yeah, he owns the rights to all of his things, or the rights revert back to him after 25 years. It's in every single one of his written screenplays. Just FYI.
So I think they can't without him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Thunderbolts says, "Well, we're still here. Another 50% drop. Yeah." We're still here in theaters. We're not going to make any money, but we're still here.
Well, with all the doom and gloom about DC and Superman, I mean, people are kind of really ignoring how bad things are shaping up for the Fantastic Four, other than Andre. We recently did a video about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we did indeed. And I think that it's already a foregone conclusion that Superman is going to win the competition between the two, because just looking at the new Avengers, or Thunderbolts as they try to push it as, that thing, I mean, is it even going to reach 400 million?
No,
that's the cap for Fantastic Four. It's like the same thing with Captain America: Brave New World, that also barely limped past 400 million. I think that's kind of like that's the new bar for Marvel movies to pass, is 400 million at this point. And I don't know that this Fantastic Four, now when we know it's another girl boss fest, that has 400 million in the tank.
Mm. And I'm still confused with the Silver Surfette thing. Like, how do you make her that ugly?
Oh, like, that's easy. Understand. You have the same mad people who decide that, dude, we have to have a female Silver Surfer. We can't have a man. Because all of the activists are going to be so upset with us if we do not signal so much virtue. We have to signal some virtue here. Obvious. I mean, that's the only thing that went into it, was virtue signaling and all that bullshit, right? So how do they make her so ugly? Well, from their distorted perception, she's probably beautiful and stunning.
Yeah. Well, and here's the official look at her too.
I don't like. She's a cute actress, but she's not model attractive, which is what they needed for I think this.
No, what they needed was to have a male Silver Surfer. At that moment, you don't have that. Nothing else matters, and it doesn't matter how supermodel attractive you make her.
No, true, and
fundamentally compromised everything.
And look how much better the Silver Surfer from the very first or the second movie, that the Fox movie they had. I mean, they completely nailed that Silver Surfer from the comics. And I mean, she is this actress is pretty. I've seen her in movies, but she's kind of one of these round-headed, chinless actresses.
Well, in this action figure, I don't know if you added this or was this on the cover?
I added. No, I did.
This action figure makes her look even uglier.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible.
I don't think facially she suits it at all. If they're if they copied her if they used like Monica Schneider or some.
Well, you just said it yourself. She has like a round face and no chin. You need a very slender, very
and if you
chiseled.
Take a look at the most successful supermodels, like Giselle from Bunchen and all these German-looking ones. The most successful supermodels actually look very male in their face. Yeah. They've got elongated faces. So this is.
I was just going to say a young Grace Jones would have been perfect. Yeah.
Who?
A young Grace Jones would have been perfect.
Grace Jones, Monica Schneider. I mean, there's
Millie Alcock.
No.
But still, let's just. I mean,
Jessica Chastain.
I don't want to get too much about the actress, because even if you had gotten any one of those, it wouldn't have changed anything. It would just tear down a more suitable actress, because the problem is this character shouldn't be female. And the character is female in this day and age, when the audience has had it so much up to here. It doesn't matter that this version is from the comics. All of these are excuses. The fact of the matter is that this particular gender bending at this particular point in history, when superhero movies are this particular place because of DEI, that breaks the movie.
Yep.
Just that alone right there.
I wonder if there was any pushback when it got brought up. Let's make Silver Surfer a girl.
We're starting to hear rumors that there was some tit for tat with Bob and Kevin, and I'm starting to believe it. Because I'm sure Bob is freaking out going, we can't keep doing this. And as I kind of remind people, Lucasfilm and Marvel do have some autonomy. Like, yes, they do go through Disney, but they are technically their own studios onto themselves. So it's Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy that are making a lot of the ultimate decisions. Now, Bob can come in and do things like, if you guys recall, what was it now, 5 years ago now, maybe 6, where he said the buck stops with me and I take all responsibility on Star Wars. Well, it was at that moment that everything came to a screeching halt, right? And that'll kind of lead into our next story possibly too. But is there anything else that kind of sticks out about the box office? Because I think it was really just more of a repeat of last week.
Yeah, I mean the last rodeo still in theaters, earned another $2 million.
Quick question, Culture. That movie Friendship in 7th place, wasn't that a 2024 movie? Okay.
I don't know if it's a re-release. I don't know anything about it. All I know.
Comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it opened in 7th last week.
It's a Paul Rudd comedy.
This is Adriana Lima.
Oh yeah,
perfect choice
from Brazil.
Me,
Don't you think that she would look like if you're going to do a female Silver Surfer, this is what she should look.
Let
I agree,
Close overdub her.
They're going to keep they're going to keep hiring men to do women's parts. You know, I'm if that's what you're looking for, Paul, then you're in the right era, bro.
I completely love her part.
Look, when we get down here to the bottom, which I think is the most
I
important.
say there was actually 2 other things that stuck out to me there before we get to the bottom.
Yeah. Whoa, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Snow White? Was it Snow White?
No, there was 2 limited releases that did very well, it looked like. Peppa Pig and that J tour thing.
J Hope tour. Yeah.
Look at that, because they're on hardly any screens and they're doing very well. And that's just, again, this is the kind of thing that Hollywood needs to kind of pay attention
Get back to. Hey, look, I mean, Accountant 2 is about ready to come out on
comes out Friday.
Yeah,
I'm
on
looking
Amazon.
forward to that.
Yeah.
And that thing is still made $64 million in the States.
Yeah.
Not bad. But let's look at the bottom. I really want to we can look at Disney. Disney's doing great. $11,000 for
$11,000
theaters.
Wow.
By the way, the total earnings domestic here is 87. You're not misreading that.
It hasn't even hit 100 million yet.
87. Yeah, that's why it's still in 8 theaters. But we'll move on. Or 25 theaters.
Well, I just want to point out for the audience, for the few people who may not be, because they're probably going, well, how can you sit there and praise Final Destination for only doing 111 million?
How much it costs?
And exactly, Disney's Snow White cost 5, 6, 7 times, if not more than that, probably 13 times more.
Yeah, a ton. Yeah.
Because Final Destination was only $15 million.
Yeah, the reason the minute your film stretches to $300 million potentially in expenditure or more, you better be a smash hit. You better be the tent pole of the year. And
actually, that'd be like 20 times their budget, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty wild. Anyway,
I'm not
regardless,
good at maths.
it's okay. The most important thing here is that there were only 28 films recorded at 148 million, and the only reason it made 148 million, once again, was the top 2 films. Yeah. Everything else was an also ran. So
100 million with the top 2 films.
Yeah, and those two limited release films
90 million,
grossed just as much as Thunderbolts did in a third of the theaters.
Which is insane.
Yeah,
Disney
actually
should
less
be
than a third of the theaters.
Disney should be embarrassed. They started the year $700 million in the hole.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for Lilo and Stitch, they wouldn't have a chance to draw even.
They're just lucky that movie didn't cost very much, because that might be their only saving grace right now.
Yeah.
And they better hope they didn't dump too much more into it, because, like Valiant and I were talking yesterday, he was curious if there was any more extra expenditure after they decided to take it to theaters. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could see him shoving another 20, 30 million into it. But if they didn't, they were smart, because that's hopefully going to make up for any of their losses this year, because yeah, this movie's the only thing they got right now. It's a sure thing. It's going to hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's on the way. And there's not much else that can get in the way other than How to Train Your Dragon.
Looking at the patterns and trends, I think it's going to make about 1.2 billion on the top end. But I could be wrong, because everything's so packed together this year. Everything's like 2 weeks apart. And as they just keep dropping these things, it's going to hit some of these films a little harder. as far as profitability. Overall, the box office may look good. There's some analysts out there, including Paul de Garabedian, if I don't know how to say his name, I always try.
Speaking of Paul's, we have another one joining us.
But he's came out and said we were going to have over $4 billion in this quarter, in this period of time, and I don't see that. I don't see over $4 billion out there. It's possible, but I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, we'll see how next weekend shapes up, because what is the big movie coming out this week? I'm trying to remember. It's not How to Train Your Dragon yet, right?
Ballerina
is a big one this week. Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to make much of a dent on Mission Impossible or Lilo and Stitch.
Well, I think they're pushing it, right?
Yeah, I mean it's shorter. I mean, it's only 2 hours and 5 minutes long, so it's not going to be trying to turn screens like Mission Impossible too long.
Yeah, but the problem it has is going for it, and this has nothing to do with the quality or anything. It's a girl-led action film, and I think that the audience is going to recoil. I don't care if Keanu Reeves is in it or not.
Okay.
I think the audience is smart enough, especially after Karate Kid Legends, to know that that's a bait and switch.
Mm-hmm.
Although it might help, I will say that. Yeah, but
okay. I find of the top 5, I really recommend Final Destination and Bring Her Back. I saw Bring Her Back early a couple weeks ago.
What's it about?
It did not do well, hopefully with word of mouth, but it is incredibly disturbing and well done. Sally Hawkins is the lead actress. That character is gonna be one of those great creepy crawler characters that you won't forget. Fantastic.
Yeah, story-wise, it's like a little bit like Pet Sematary, only without the pets, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that element, and the whole element of people in the I want to say the children's services industry, like that work with how do you put it?
Yeah, like the ones who appreciate the sound of freedom territory.
No. The child services, and some of the horrific things you might hear on how child service takes care of children.
Sure.
And preys on them. There's a through line here with this story.
Oh.
And
foster care type thing.
Say that again.
Like a foster care type thing.
Yes. There's a foster care element, and then her character, Sally Hawkins' character, also worked in child services for like 20 years, and she is obviously they kind of overdo it as far as just how sinister she is.
Yeah,
but it is a fan. You just can't take your eyes off of what she does as far as his character, and it is not. I just really recommend it, guys. It's pretty disturbing. Okay. That being said, it's pretty original. Like these guys did Talk to Me. That came out a few years ago. I know Talk to Me, money wise, there's no comparison. Talk to Me did really well. This is kind of ho hum, but again, I think with good word of mouth, it's going to end up doing pretty well. It's a fantastic film.
Oh, wow. High praise.
Cool.
Yeah, especially considering it's not doing so well. So maybe people will check it out.
Check it out, folks.
Check it out. Let's grab a few of these super chats, and then we'll move into the rest of our stories here. We got Pilgrim Media, who says, my great-grandfather was Norwegian Stavanger. Did I say that right?
Stavanger.
Stavanger?
Yeah.
Accident Seller says the DW finale scene I wish I could erase from my mind. The doctor flying around in the air on a scooter with his skirt flapping in the wind. Eye bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Finale. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dark King says Minecraft's box office is finally stalling out. Yeah, but I still think it's going to tap that billion. Come real close to it. Nicholas Horton says, hail, late happy birthday for yesterday, Tom. Well, thank you. My European neighbor, Andre, panelist in those Doctor Who's finale rumors were true, plus it was disjointed. Well, we're going to get into that. Mexican Iron Man says Zack Snyder is better than the Karate Kid and not a Karate Kid movie. Okay. Actually, it is kind of a Karate Kid movie, but sadly they kept trying to make it a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I explained on Friday. Jason Webster says, yes, the Spanish Formula One Grand Prix, which was won by McLaren's Oscar Piastri. Did I say that right, Paul? Teammate.
Well, the McLaren?
Yeah. McLaren, I said it right.
Yeah,
okay.
Piastri. He's Australian.
Piastri. From teammate Lando Norris and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Is that right? Leclerc. In third. All right. So there you go. And then Toga Free says Michael Bay Superman bullet dodged. Yeah. I don't know why everybody's so like, oh, we could have got a Michael Bay Superman movie. It's like, yeah, we dodged that bullet, folks. Why are you so Ralph McQuarrie wanted to make one too. So did Matt Reeves or not Matt Reeves what was his name? Not Matt Reeves. It was or was it Matt Reeves who wanted to make one too?
I don't remember.
Tim Burton.
No, well, yeah, Tim Burton initially back in the day, but no, there was another one in between there. Plus, J.J. Abrams. We almost got a J.J. fucking Abrams one too while we were at it.
That would have been the worst of all.
Flyby. Yeah, you can go read that script. What was that, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has seen Pearl Harbor, they know how bad Michael Bay can be.
Pearl Harbor is a. What was that?
Rock. Yeah.
That was the thing.
Rock was great.
Pearl Harbor it's like two different movies.
Yes.
Right? You have all the fight stuff, which like the Pearl Harbor attack and all that stuff, which is just amazing because he does it like minute by minute, second per second, whatever, But then all the other crap is like what is all this other shit? Yeah, Ben Affleck and doing some of his worst acting ever. Jason Webster says, yes, what a real clash of cinematic titans. Sorry about that. Souped Up Man versus Fantastic Boar. Baby steps with Pedro Pascal as Ray Ricardo and Silver Surfette. So you have some splaining to do. Fall Hard sends in 5 and says Silver Surfer is female because the F4 is an alternative universe. That gets destroyed. F4 will escape the MCU where male Silver Surfer will appear. We already know this, Fall Hard, but
that's not an excuse to do it. They didn't
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we don't even know that's going to happen. I think that's very wishful thinking. I think the intention absolutely is for this female surfer to remain the Silver Surfer in the MCU going forward. Remember, according to these less test screen reports that we have, I haven't heard a single one that doesn't say that the female Silver Surfette doesn't make it through the movie. On the contrary, everything we've heard is that it's the Silver Surfette and Sue and the little baby that are the ones that say they
solve the problem.
Share a single one of them not make it throughout. If that were the case, we would all know and we would be happy about it. But no, we haven't heard that, have we? Yeah. So I'm afraid I do not believe this rumor about her being replaced with a male Silver Surfer. I think that's just a ruse that someone have put out there, probably deliberately in response to the backlash, trying to con people into going anyway. I do not believe that they have any intention of putting in any male Silver Surfer, because if they did, it would have been in this movie.
Yep. It's all cope and excuses.
Speaking of cope and excuses, there's no way that's Pedro's kid.
No, I agree completely.
It's the surfer's kid. Haven't you read the comics?
No, jeez. Should be Namor's kid if we're going anyway.
It's even less his kid, but
yes.
It's less. It's not a brown baby.
That ain't no brown
no,
baby.
that's what I mean. I mean,
come on.
It may not be Pedro, but it's definitely not.
You're not supposed to notice that Reed Richards is
not white.
No. The way they did Namor.
Oh,
Namor.
Right. Yeah,
Namor.
Yeah, that also reminds me a little. Remember that movie San Andreas with The Rock and Alexandro Daddario as his daughter, and we were somehow supposed to believe that that was his biological daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a prequel movie in there somewhere about what went down there.
We weren't supposed to notice. It's make believe. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to notice, and we weren't supposed to notice that. I'm not buying that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was in the comics. Sue and Namor have a thing, right?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
one of you guys mentioned, oh, what if it's Namor's kid? Well, in this universe, the kid would have to be brown. That's what I was.
It's alternative
definitely
universe.
that.
But it's an
I
alternative
would
universe.
like to see this universe's version of Sue's personal trainer from her gym. I mean, I think that's
Maybe it's Johnny. I mean, it looks a lot like Johnny, your brother.
Oh, a pure
That's
blood
what I
storm.
noticed. I'm like, is this some Game of Thrones shit or what?
Whoa!
I disagree with that because listen, that Johnny is supposed to be a ladies' man, but in order to be a ladies' man, you have to smile. You have to be a little bit, you have to be a little bit charmer. Paul, you know this.
Come on.
Paul, he has that lack of cheerfulness. Of course. Whereas that Johnny Storm that we see in the trailer there, have you ever seen a face less joyful? I mean, the only person that I can think of when I look at that guy's face who displays less joy is what's his face? The one who used to be a woman in the X-Men movies.
Are we talking about what's the actor's name? Joseph Quinn?
No, yeah, Joseph Quinn. I mean, but that guy, he does not look happy. He does not look cheerful. He does not look like someone who's capable of charming any woman. Because he looks chronically and clinically depressed.
Yeah, look, he does serious and depressed very well.
Yes.
He did Warfare, great character in Warfare, but he was a serious military guy. Yeah.
Jared Leto never smiles.
Yeah, and he's like, weird creeper charm.
Quinn did have a lot of charm in Stranger Things. He did a good job in that role, but in everything I've seen of Johnny Storm, he's just like either flat-faced or like he looks shocked or scared or something.
Haven't seen that. That's probably why.
Yeah. What I meant, like the only person who looks like more clinically depressed than that guy, and he does in all the stills for this movie, is Elliot Page.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Only person that comes to mind that looks more depressed than him, and we're supposed to believe that he is some kind of ladies' man. Not in that universe, and that alone precludes him being the father of this child. Although I agree that could have been, just looking at that kid's complexion and hair color and eye color, and all the things that preclude that from being Pedro's baby.
Well, he's also going to be Joseph Quinn. He's going to be one of the Beatles.
That's right. He's playing. Who was he playing? Was it Ringo?
Ringo, isn't it?
No, it's not Ringo.
Was it Ringo? Okay.
Cosmo Jarvis. But I did see Joseph Quinn in Gladiator 2. He does a certain type of, that was a kind of an interesting character, but he was a strange dude, man. It was a creepy crawler. So not the charming Johnny. Johnny's lives life by the seat of his pants. He's fun loving. He's a ladies' man. And then he when he's wrong, prompts to admit it, but then he moves along. From what I'm hearing about Joseph Quinn and then Paul Mescal, they have the British emasculate school alive and thriving over there. So, I'm not into that stuff at all.
Yeah, sadly, someone who is no longer into this show, who has to be leaving, is cultured. But I want to thank you for being here today and for delighting us with the box office takedown and breakdown.
I always have fun on Mondays. If I could stay longer, I would. I may be back here this week at some point. Do check out Paulie's thoughts on this karate flop movie, and check out his channel because he's killing it. And check out Chris, because Chris produces a great source of information that I rely on to make videos. So thank you, Chris.
My wallet out. Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, and check out Scribelite, because apparently he likes TED talking or TEDing or some kind of TEDdy thing.
That's all I'm good for. It's true.
That's not true. He does a lot of great things. So anyway, I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. And obviously check out Paul's video, because I think it's brilliant, about streaming sucking in season 2, and he's right. I'll see you later. Bye.
See you, bud.
High culture.
And we also got a couple of super chats on this topic. We'll get to those momentarily. But first, Jason Webster says for $2 Australian, Bring Her Back is an Australian horror film. And the Australians are generally really, really good at horror.
Yes.
Then we have a Thunderstorm who says for $9.99, did the guy or gal Guns stole his ideas from Die or something? I'm not quite sure what is meant here. I can only imagine that we are talking about the woman inside the MCU or inside Marvel who actually got the ball rolling on Guardians of the Galaxy before James Gunn came aboard much, much later and made it his own. But he wasn't the one who got the ball rolling on that. I do not recall that woman's name. And since I do not recall her name, I also do not know if she is still with the company, fired, or have gone to the Eternal Hunting Grounds. Cannot say. We'll see if someone else knows, but I don't know. I think it's just one of the many, many, many people who were not sufficiently credited and kind of screwed over by the Hollywood system, I think is quite enough there. And then we have Thanatos Felicitas, who's been a member for 10 months, saying, I'm surprised they did not gender swap the baby. Well, there's still time. There's still time. Considering that this is Marvel doing that, maybe like the Franklin decides at some point in honor of Pride Month or something like that, that maybe it's time for like some transitioning. I wouldn't put it past them, but maybe
Franklin becomes Frankie at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Francine.
And then
whatever.
we get into the ones that we were just discussing. Chaos Sonic 1 says for $5, Pedro makes a better namor, the Mexican joke one, than Reed, as both are unsympathetic a-holes in personalities, for which, of course, we need to blame Marvel and not any of the actors, because they thought they did something cool there. And then Captain Potato says for $5, believing it's Pedro's kid is the new believing Arnold Schwarzenegger is named John Kimball or Howard Langston. Yeah, it was always fun. I kind of like enjoyed those movies where they made
Is it just me or did he just phase out?
He just phased out.
Yeah, he's out.
I think he was about to say where obviously they wouldn't have those last names, but yeah, this is true. But yeah, he's gone. It just died. Thanatos Feliciados sends in $10 member or 10 months super chat. Sorry, not $10. Says I'm surprised they did not gender swap the baby. I think we already got that one. We got
we did.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, now you're back. Okay, and this is the last one we have yet. Unless you wanted to finish your thoughts on this since we didn't get to hear you.
Okay, because I don't know exactly where this appeared. I said, I always appreciated the movies where it was very clear that Schwarzenegger was never like born an American, that he's at best naturalized. Like for instance in Predator, where his nickname is Dutch, because obviously he's not an American.
Yeah.
Because again, with his accent, who'll believe that his name would be like John Howard or Kimball or something? That just
what accent are you talking about? I
Yeah,
don't hear any accent.
Yeah, I mean, like if I suddenly move to America and I present myself as John Smith, I mean, it's not gonna fly, is it?
I totally believe you.
Yeah.
Be a
Jason,
good neighbor.
Yeah, be a good neighbor.
Neighbor.
Jason
Farm is
Webster
there.
says, I said it once, I'll say it again. Pedro Pascal is showing up in more places than COVID.
Hey-o.
Oh my.
I need to change the Latino slant to the Pascal slant.
Pascal slant.
I will make so much money right now. I mean, it's crazy every time there's a Pedro topic. The super chats that come in here. Keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. Let's go.
Well, we actually have to move on.
You need a Pedro slant. You need an Ortega slant. You need like a whole series on individual actors.
Well, Ortega always does well, but you know he doesn't have the controversies that Pascal.
No.
Well,
you're properly named, Polly.
Let's get through this business here, because this has been the talk of the town. Is Ncuti Gatwa regenerating into Billy Piper and leaving Doctor Who? This was reported by a lot of people in our sphere in the last few months. and it has come to fruition. I, of course, am not a big Doctor Who fan. Not that I dislike it, I just never really got a chance to see a lot of it. But
well, let's be clear, though. What was reported was that Gatwa would be leaving the role because he wanted to continue his Hollywood career before Doctor Who sunk it completely. What was new, what people didn't know, was that the Doctor would regenerate into Billy Piper, who was never a doctor, but who was in Doctor Who before as one of the assistants or the companions, the original companion when Eccleston first brought back Doctor Who as the, I don't know, 12th Doctor, whatever it was, I don't know. Either way, whichever number it was, she was Eccleston's companion. And that's what I'm thinking, that if they wanted to bring the audience back, they needed to bring back Eccleston. Because this, I can just imagine all the virtue signaling that must have been in that writer's room. Like thinking, who can we get as the new Doctor Who? Shall we do a white man? No, we can't do that. People will be so angry at us on Twitter. Fine, let's rule that out right away. No white male. Okay, then what? Are we talking someone more diverse, LGBTQ, a woman? What we do that has some kind of legacy that will get the fans back in again? Oh, I know, Billy Piper. People will love that. No, people won't love that, but that's what they did. I assure you, the writer's room went something along those lines.
Well, there's some confusion as to whether or not she's actually going to be the Doctor. She's not credited as the Doctor in the credits of the episode, though the other two actors that play the Doctor are. And I am not the biggest Doctor Who nerd, so I'm happy to be corrected by other people. But yes, Rose Tyler, the character, was with the 9th Doctor, which was Christopher Eccleston, and then she carried over into Tennant's era and probably had her best sort of character romantic-ish arc with Tennant. There is precedent for the Doctor to regenerate into someone they have known in their history and not into the person themselves.
Really?
Because, yeah, Peter Capaldi, who played the Doctor, I want to say he was the 12th Doctor, because they've kind of mixed around with who's Doctor what. But anyway, Peter Capaldi played a character in Doctor Who in a previous episode, long before Peter Capaldi became the actor who played Doctor Who. And they had to sort of retcon or sort of figure out, how do we justify that? Because he clearly appeared as this character. He wasn't in a costume or something. As Peter Capaldi playing a different character, why would the Doctor take on the face of this other person? They found a way to work it into the story. So if they were actually going to make Billy Piper the Doctor and not just Rose Tyler suddenly becomes the Doctor, they already have a mechanism in the lore to make that work. At the same time, Billy Piper has played characters in Doctor Who that were not Rose Tyler, because she's played a representation of other things. So it's kind of nebulous right now, whether Billy Piper will be the Doctor or whether Doctor Who might not just take a break for several years and just retcon her having regenerated into this. So that's again, anybody in the chat who knows this better than I do, I apologize if I stepped on any inaccuracies here, but that's my understanding.
Well, and again, I'm outside of this, but there's one scenario that Andre didn't think about. I think most of what you said is probable, Andre. The one part, though, is they don't care what we think.
I didn't say that. They care
here's the
about
thing.
what their
You're like,
crowd
how,
thinks.
let me rephrase this. You're like, how do we win them back? Because at the moment where somebody would have brought up, let's do a white male Doctor, that never even came up, because that was never a possibility. That's my point, is they were never going to do that, because they knew that would make the old fans happy. And not only that, that's them basically admitting defeat. So that is something they cannot do. They are going to keep doing this until it hits, until they get some success. That's why they're doing it with Billy Piper. Who gives a fuck what character she's playing? They just looking at it as, she is part of the franchise before, it will bring old people back in. That part I agree with you on. They were never, not once ever thinking about making the Doctor white and male, at least not until they get a success again with somebody who isn't. That's what I guarantee you went down in that writer's room.
Probably, yeah.
Because there's no way they would just give us a white male Doctor right now, because it would be admitting defeat.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Should have been Pedro Pascal.
If it was Pedro Pascal, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
It's true. It's true.
Because he's the whitest male I know.
Or give it to Daniel Craig. Make Daniel Craig Doctor.
He'd be gay as fuck.
Well,
I
mean,
would watch an Idris Elba Doctor Who.
Oh, now Idris Elba would be badass.
They messed up in not doing that years ago, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Ian McKellen as Doctor Who would be amazing.
Have you seen his new Shakespeare play that's going to be cast all transgenders and non-binary? It's true. I'm not. I'm not joking.
I mean, didn't all the women be played by men back in the original plays?
Well, sure, yeah, that's the justification.
Solve the marketing problem.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about Doctor Who. Get back to it, guys. I just wanted to interject that because I knew there was no way. Because isn't the guy behind Doctor Who woke as fuck right now anyway?
Yes, he is.
Yes,
so.
Babies. Yeah.
I mean, it's all. I mean, he's all about the messaging. That's his first, second, and third priority. Yeah. With story a distant last priority, and that too has to relate to his own lived experience and something like that. So yeah.
That's a shame. But I've never been a fan of Doctor Who, honestly.
This is a good time not to be a fan of Doctor Who. I will say that as well.
I couldn't imagine.
Or at least you could catch up for once. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just awful. I couldn't imagine being so invested in I mean, this property's what, 50-something years old, 60 years old now?
Oh, sure. How invested are you in Star Wars?
Well, I tapped out, I guess, after.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what most Doctor Who fans have done as well. As you could tell from the rating, they've tapped out and said enough, and they walked away.
It's like a Doctor Who skin suit. It's just a skin suit that the BBC and Disney are wearing, and it's called Doctor Who, but it's something else entirely.
Well, it seemed like Paul had a lot to say about this before the show. Is he still there? Are you there, Paul? Did you have anything to add to this? I think he stepped away.
Yeah,
he did, yes.
He must have, because he did say be right back. Sorry. Because I wish I had more to say about this then, but look, this show seems so dead already. I'm surprised they're even continuing. I thought they needed more money to keep going. Did they find some money somewhere?
Well, they already have, like, Disney is already paying for this season, so it's from the next
so they're still
season
for the okay, gotcha.
It's not that they were running out of money in the middle of production. No. Disney is paying for this season. Problem is what happens after this season.
Right. Okay. I was under the impression that was already up. That was my
No.
point, so.
No.
Isn't the BBC state funded though? I mean, don't they
are, but they don't have the money to keep funding this shit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's a matter of like what's being given internal. Like, for instance, if suddenly Disney pulls out and Disney doesn't give the 100 million or whatever that's needed to pay for this, then the BBC is going to have to come up with that from somewhere else. Now, of course, they get money from the state, but that money is already spent elsewhere. So what other program with more viewers is going to have to suffer to make more Doctor Who for no viewers?
Like public television here, kind of like what Sesame Street's been dealing with for the last few years.
Yes, precisely.
And that's why I think they're on Netflix now, I think, because they went from...
Netflix just bought them from HBO.
HBO and
So there's no way Netflix will let them go woke. That's for sure. They're in good hands at Netflix. I think they're going to do a double feature with Cuties.
The only thing I could think would be good is if they finally actually get all the original first, 20, 25 years of Sesame Street up on streaming. I'd be glad, because they finally even found the lost episode with Margaret Hamilton. Wicked.
That was a couple of years ago.
They just found that for the first time, because they had initially erased all the masters of that because they're like, we're never showing this episode again. Somebody found it, and now you can go see it at the. I think it leaked online, but.
It was lost media for many years. It was like the holy grail of Sesame Street lore. Someone trying to find this one copy of this, and then the Mr. Rogers episode where she shows up and shows kids that I'm just an actress. I'm not scared.
Which was a response to that. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mr. Rogers is another one where I wish they'd put out all the old episodes, because there was a great episode. I found it once, and I think it was on one of the collections, but I haven't been able to locate it again. where he actually went behind the scenes on the Incredible Hulk to show kids.
Oh yeah,
how that
I remember
worked.
that one. Yeah, we saw Lou Ferrigno and everything.
With
out of
Lou
it. Yeah,
Ferrigno and Bill
I
Bixby
have
and
that.
shit. That's a great fucking episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's your
Anyhow.
Mr. Rogers neighborhood recommendations right here on Midnight.
But yeah, I'm sorry to trail off, but that's kind of the same thing, or at least
Mr.
my
Connor's
understanding
Neighborhood.
of what BBC runs their stuff like is similar to what we do with public television. That was all I was trying to bring up. Sorry.
Thankfully,
Go.
Mr. Rogers never went woke. That's the good news.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Well, he ended.
Can
too
you
soon,
say
I guess.
transsexual?
Yeah. He did. There was a video clip going around that went viral about him talking about the differences between boys and girls.
Yes. A
I
boy
guess
can
I
only be a
remember
boy and a girl can only be a
That
girl,
got
etc.
him so canceled today. It would. Be
It
so
would.
nice.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Paul, you got any comments about Doctor Who?
Well, it's interesting. This is serious that Piper is going to be the new Doctor Who.
I think it was
Rumor.
predicted first by Fandom Pulse a few months ago, another website that's sort of like Bleeding Fool out there. Yeah.
Well, are they on this kick now where they have to make sure that they can't include a straight white male, because then that would indicate that all these plans and changes they've made up to this point were essentially wrong?
It's funny because that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what was alluded to earlier
So
here.
I have a solution for it. You get a really shitty actor as a straight white male who is just abominably bad.
So you? No, I'm just kidding, Paul.
No, don't apologize for a good joke. Stop.
I know, but I don't want to be that mean.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that would have been the plan. Damn, we need to.
I want to see you as gay Doctor Who now.
I can
I
do
would
it
watch
like
that.
today.
I would watch that.
Yeah,
No, I
watch
got it.
Paul as,
I got it.
Doctor Who. Yeah.
I got it. This Billy Piper they do an episode, but then she retransforms into Danny Trejo. Dr. Machete.
Damn it. You know what,
Boom.
Paul?
I would watch
That's a
that.
better
Boom.
idea.
Okay, I would watch that.
Yeah, me too. Directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
What does this cosmic screwdriver do? Machete
Yeah.
don't use no screwdriver.
Machete don't do time jumps.
Yeah, me don't do.
Now, anything,
Time
anything, Danny, Dr. Machete, man. Hell yeah. Look at everyone saying yes.
Dr. Machete.
Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Yeah, and the funny
Kinda
thing
like I
is that
finally
then
got
you can.
excited about Star Trek when there was a rumor that Quentin Tarantino was gonna do a Star
Oh,
Trek.
don't get me
Oh,
started
yeah.
on that. But Andre, you were
Yeah.
about to say what now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about like now just the ropes, the jokes with Dr. Machete just write themselves. Then it's like
Yeah.
then you can even do a comment on like the last few doctors. Well, turns out women can't do shit anyway. So yeah.
No, but the Tarantino's Trek, I would still die to see that, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
We were robbed.
We were
100%.
definitely robbed. And he was kind of bamboozled into that too, if you kind of notice. And I think he knows that, and that's probably why he threw JJ under the bus. I have that clip if anybody's ever curious about what he said, but the short version is basically when he went into the meeting for JJ, he's like, I don't even understand this shit. He's like, nobody cares. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't even understand it. And that's what JJ said to him. Because he was talking about the different universes. He's like, my editor tried explaining to me that something happened in the past and this isn't the same timeline. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't like that. He's like, nobody likes it. Just do what you want.
As long as he can use the N-word.
Yes. Well, they were going to let him do full on R-rated Star. And you know what? He's the one man that I could trust with R-rated Star Trek. Be like, all right, now you got my attention. Because he was going to basically do a redo of the episode where the gangster episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
where they try and go to the criminal planet or whatever.
Yes, that was his plan.
Oh, nice.
But he was just going to do it his version with Chris Pine and all those guys, because that's what he loved about the reboots was he didn't like the movies, but he loved the cast. So he's like, I want to use that cast, but I don't want to do a sequel to that shit. And that's where JJ's like, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter as long as we can get this done. He just wanted to basically get it done because as Andre had been reporting for a long time before I even joined the crew and afterwards as well. And as we know, we were like clockwork. They announce a new Star Trek movie every 6 to 7 months because they have to. Because otherwise, JJ doesn't get to stay involved with this if they don't get this shit done before too long because the clock is ticking. And I guarantee you, if it hasn't already elapsed, it's about to. So I think it maybe has, because we haven't heard about a Star Trek 4 in how long now, Andre?
A very, very long time. It actually has relapsed. But
I was going to say, I think it has
now.
now.
Yeah, but then it's his buddy Alex Kurtzman that decides who gets to do it. At least it has been.
Yeah.
The thing that changes right now, of course, is the new owner. Now they're the ones that put the kibosh on everything. There, who knows exactly what's going to happen. I have heard that Kurtzman is out, or that he will be out once the new owner is in place. But again, I want some further confirmation of that before I run with it, because we've heard him being out before. And that guy, like a cockroach, he just stays on. So,
and I'm not so sure I believe that too, because the people that put him and JJ in effectively in a charge of this shit to begin with, vicariously, were people from Skydance.
Yeah, but sometimes they can be your worst enemy. The people who trusted you initially can be the ones that turn on you.
Good point, Paul. Let's just hope that they notice, that these same people notice the change or the difference with Picard season 3 compared to everything else. And you can't deny the success that was in comparison. But back to Doctor Who, something that hasn't been very successful. I don't know if you had anything more to add to this, Paul, because you were away while we were talking about most of it. But I know you had an awful lot to say this morning. Chudy, well, go ahead if you got anything to say about Chudy.
No, nothing. I mean, I think you've got a whole bunch of writers that have failed the series, and we've talked about it already. They've decided that other traits were more important, that they themselves harbor and have done good work in the past, like the one guy who did Sherlock, although did watch it's not a recent show anymore, but one that was recommended to us called The Insider, I think, which had The Inside Man. And that was written by one of the Doctor Who writers. Again, his name escapes me. Stephen Moffat.
I love how your wife
Yeah. She's my brain now.
Yeah. Say thanks. Thank her from us.
Yes, thank you, Ray.
This is becoming a normal thing on every show. I love it.
I love it. I think it's great. But so Stephen Moffat wrote The Inside Man with Stanley Tucci, and it's absolutely horrific. Like Ramon and I stopped watching it after, 20 minutes, because it was the most ridiculous idea for a series. And I'm wondering, wow, how come I liked Stephen Moffat at one point earlier on? Like, what happened to him? What changed him into such a horrendous writer?
It's a good question.
Like he did some great stuff. The first season of Sherlock Holmes with Cumberbatch, Gumby Boy,
Cumberbatch, yeah,
was fantastic, and he has a history of writing some of the best earlier Doctor Who's. But then I don't know. Maybe he finally got laid.
Even the Red Nose special that he wrote was pretty amazing. The Doctor Who Red Nose special with Rowan Atkins, that was fantastic.
So the guy is not without talent, but the recent stuff that I've seen of him has been not particularly good. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's it. That's my catch up now that I'm back.
Danny Trejo. I got 2 words. That's it.
Yeah.
As a non-Whovian, I'm not a Whovian. Just saying.
I think that works for me.
So I mean, if Doctor Who is going to go gay, then they've got to go the guy's dead now, but it should have been Divine.
But wasn't Doctor Who already gay? Wasn't that black guy gay?
No, yeah, but
pretty sure.
It was kind of this weird dance hall music gay, not.
I agree with Paul. Like you get Divine or you get John Waters to play.
Yeah,
or somebody
John
like
Waters.
That.
John Waters is Doctor.
John Waters.
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh man, you had so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that's missing from Doctor Who since the Bag Lady took over. Just fun, plain fun.
But wasn't the whole thing like he's just not a human in the sense that we are? So the whole sexualities and all that stuff
doesn't matter. Darth Maul's right. We're talking Charles Nelson Riley gay.
Paul Lynn gay.
Hello.
Exactly.
Paul Lynn is Doctor
Exactly.
Who, I would
Flaming
watch.
as
Yes.
fuck and does not care.
And I'm wearing this shirt too, and I just said that.
Or
Hello.
what's his name from Broadway? What's the
Exactly.
guy?
Where it's a superpower because you are
No.
fucking super gay.
Scott Thompson. Scott Thompson from the Kids in the Hall
I
game.
would love it.
That'd be
Exactly.
great.
Thank
Scott
you.
Thompson.
Yes, I would watch something like that maybe.
Actor, singer, dancer, writer, Canadian.
Yeah, Scott Thompson. See, and this is where they don't understand, the John Waters world of comedic gay stuff. That you gotta go for it. That this is not a halfway thing.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm with you, Paul. The same thing with blaxploitation or anything
Yes.
else.
Go for
Right.
it. Oh my God.
Like how did how was the Lando movie?
Go for it, Tom. Doctor Who's gonna go for it.
Go for it, girlfriend. No, but
I'm all in. I'm all in for it.
like
Go
we were
for
talking
it.
about with Lando and why wasn't when they announced that show that never came to fruition? It's like I want the blaxploitation Quentin Tarantino in space, fucking full on, give it to me, Lando Calrissian badass space pimp. But we'll never get anything
Shaft
like
in
that.
space.
Shaft in fucking space, but they'll
Yes.
never do that kind of shit
No,
anymore. They
course
lost
not.
all their sense of humor and all of their sense of
Speaking of never doing again and losing, let's
We're losing
move
people
on a little bit here because
yeah,
we're
we got
about
another
to
topic,
lose
but
people.
we got
We
some
only
more
have
super
one more
chats to get
story.
through. Yeah, I was getting into the super chats. Captain Potato says with $5, I'm glad Billy Piper is the new Doctor. Since the last Doctor was gay, the Billy Doctor can go find Tennant's 14 Doctor and fuck himself.
Got the best
Chaos
comments on this viewer. Yeah, this is great.
Chaos Sonic 1 says problem is that Eccleston had a falling out with RTD, so it is impossible for Eccleston to return with RTD.
Well, the problem is get rid of RTD, then bring Eccleston back. Everyone wins, including the fans.
Bingo.
So that's what you have to do.
Yep.
Because you have to bring Eccleston back, and you have to get rid of all the people behind the scenes which are preventing him from coming back. And in the process, you'll get the fans back as well.
Yeah, that's what Les Grossman would do. Accident Seller says Rose Tyler looked into the heart of the TARDIS once. She could be the image of the heart of the TARDIS momentarily before changing into someone else.
Yeah,
See, there you go. It could be all kinds of sort of things.
Yeah.
Infinite possibilities. Go One for One sends in 50 Mexicans, says, don't worry, British people are forced to pay for the BBC. Not with taxes. Forced government fee is not going anywhere. They just plunder more funds. Yeah, I've heard that. So, yeah. Kalekioki says, Mr. Rogers never went woke. Same can't be said for Bill Nye. Yeah, or Sesame Street for that matter.
Bill Nye, what a disappointment.
Yeah. Jason Webster says, Doctor who faces his greatest, most horrifying threats, the showrunner and writer. Oh, yes, this is so true. Indeed.
So that black dude's out, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless
That
he comes back for
didn't last
cameos or
long.
something.
Yeah, no,
was
that
like,
did not
what,
last long.
A season?
Two
Two
seasons.
seasons.
Well, and I believe the story that they decided to leave because it was ruining their career.
Yeah.
I believe that. And then Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle sent us a super sticker. For some reason, Here, let me see if I can bring up this. Okay, it's a Shiba dog with a thumbs up. Thank you for that, Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle. Sorry, the YouTube side of things was not cooperating with me at that moment in time. And speaking of cooperating, somebody who's no longer cooperating with Star Wars. It's Mark Hamill. I'm done. I don't want to. This is for young people now. Get off my fucking planet. So yeah, Mark Hamill.
Good reason. It's a good reason. They tell you
doesn't want to return to Star Wars for a good reason. And what is this good reason according to comicbookmovie.com? Well,
the good reason is exactly what you already said, is to let go for a younger, a new cast that no one cares about because they have failed to find one.
Right.
Get a new one, invested in one.
somebody
Especially
convinced Mark Hamill that his appearance in The Last Jedi is what hurt the movie, perhaps. And so he thinks, it should have been with the new people. But really, what hurt the movie was him drinking alien tit milk.
Yeah, God.
And not saving his sister.
Yeah, right.
Look,
Yeah.
Here's my prediction. In about 2-3 weeks from now, we're going to hear that Mark Hamill sold his likeness rights and his voice to Disney. So that's why he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, sure. Well, didn't they already have to do that for the sake of making the very picture we're seeing
maybe
now?
they already did. You're probably right.
I mean, it was
But
probably
it could be that
parcel,
was just like a one-time thing. That now it's like a permanent. Like, yeah, now you can do whatever you want forever. Just keep on paying me and my descendants as if I was still there. Would be my best guess. But yeah, I agree. That's probably why it's like, yeah, I'm not returning, but my likeness is. Because at this point, if anything, Disney and Lucasfilm are so desperate because maybe Kathleen Kennedy doesn't get, but Bob Iger certainly gets that everything they have done has failed. Even The Mandalorian, which looked really, really promising for a while there, was dead the moment that they fired Gina Carano. That ended all hype for The Mandalorian and the entire Mandoverse. I mean, just look at what happened with Mandalorian Season 3. Hardly anyone saw it compared to Season 2, because that just killed all the goodwill that they had. So at this point, what can they do? So I do believe that we will be getting the image of Luke Skywalker. There just won't be any Mark Hamill there.
Yeah,
that's
the most economical thing to do, because he's not getting any younger, and it's like, oh, I'm leaving because we need to have a new generation. Like, yeah, they tried that, it hasn't worked because they don't know what to do with the franchise. They haven't never known what to do with the franchise, and for a long time I felt sorry for Mark Hamill, because I was like, he's being locked into playing a version of his character that he obviously had a problem with, as was famous. Him throwing his lightsaber over his head like it was no big deal, I thought was just. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Put a spike right in my heart as a Star Wars fan. It was bad enough they got rid of the EU, which was should have been my first red flag that nothing was going to be good after that. But as soon as that happened in that second movie, I was like, oh no. Oh, this is terrible.
He should have been a fucking diva if he actually felt the way he claimed he felt and put his goddamn foot down and been like, no, Luke Skywalker wouldn't do that. No, Luke Skywalker wouldn't fucking say that. And if he had actually done that, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? He's Luke fucking Skywalker. You get to a point where you got, either Rian Johnson or J.J. Abrams sitting off to the side with Kathleen Kennedy going, well, what are we going to do? This is what he wants, and he's going to fucking walk if we don't. We could sue him, but it's going to take 6 years in fucking to get all this shit taken care of, and this movie's not going to get done in the meantime, right? Like, that's the problem they would have on the set.
Right. I agree with you. I think he started doing that, and then they just paid his ass to shut up.
Yeah, or he was just Mr. Professional. I signed a contract. This is the script they handed me. I mean, I could, like I said, I have some sympathy for him, because if he's locked into a contract, he's trying to be a professional, he's working for the people that are paying for him, and he doesn't want to be a diva, then that's what you do. And of course, it wasn't like he wasn't vocal about it on the sidelines in press conferences and elsewise. So
I have no sympathy for him, but I think as soon as he started barking a little bit, he just got paid off, or he just got reminded too of his contract.
Yeah, but even then, as somebody like that, and this is where this is what I'm saying is somebody that's like a go for broke moment. And this is where, like, I'm kind of with like you, Paulie, on this. I don't really feel bad for him, because that's where he could have, and it's not like he was at this place in his career, true, that he could have withstood that. It could have went to court. But at that point, the movie doesn't get made, because you don't have Luke fucking Skywalker. So cooler heads would have prevailed, and they would have tried to compromise with him on the set, right? Instead of, or it probably would have come up during the script prep. I mean, he even said this after the fact. He's like, I went to that first script reading, and I'm sitting here going, why am I here? I'm not even in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even understand why he was there. And so then by the time you get to the second film, I'm sure he wasn't even aware of what was going on until he's in the midst of this shit. And that's where I would have been like, hold up, time out, wait the fuck a minute. Why would I even do that? Why would Luke even do these things? Like, that's the moment I would have start raising these concerns. And that's, he can go for broke. He's Mark Hamill. He doesn't have a major career right now. He's not going to lose anything. He can still go do voice acting and shit. Nobody's going to care. He did that. He took the paycheck. He was happy to do it and gripe about it later. I have very little respect for that. It's like, you should have said something in the moment. To me, I'm not trying to compare it to somebody who's, saying that they were assaulted by somebody, but that's the way it comes off. It's like, oh, you're saying it now. Why didn't you say it in the moment?
But
You know,
see,
like,
I don't have I don't have sympathy because of how he has treated people the last few
there's
years.
that too. But
I understand why he had to take a paycheck, you know, like all actors do. You work your contract. That's, to me, that's separate, right? But if he really felt this passionate about like something's wrong with this, he would have, you know, he after the first, you know, you're sent scripts weeks before, or even, you know, well before a script table reading. He could have been sending notes to George, to JJ, what's going on here? Like, if he was really invested, the thing was he really invested to that point? Whereas Harrison Ford is like, you know, just pay me, I'll just show up, but you got to pay me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were aware, because these things were kept under lock and key.
That was
I
about
was
to
under the
say.
impression that he didn't even know what was going on with The Force Awakens until that first script reading where they were all sitting around together as a cast. And that's what he said by the end of the reading. He's like, am I ever going to show up in this thing? Because he was like us in the theater. And if you watch that interview with him, he's like, oh, this is where I'm going to come in, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to take the lightsabers. No, it's Rey. What the fuck is this? He had the same fucking feeling we did. He's like, when am I coming into this movie?
Okay, so that being said, it's a table read, right? Like you said. And then you go back, you're like, and if you have really got a big problem with it, you talk to your people, you talk to representation, and then you talk to the biggies. It obviously wasn't that big of a deal to where he, you know, he had no film career at this point. He only had a voiceover, a very, very healthy voiceover career, but he had no film career. And he probably, you know, that paycheck was probably huge, which he hadn't seen a paycheck like that.
Well, he was already locked into 3 movies. That part is true,
right?
Because he signed on with George. But yeah,
you just compare that to what maybe the paid work he had gotten in decades prior. He ain't gonna say no to it, especially at
I
his
understand
age.
that.
Yeah,
I get it.
But I got no sympathy for the guy because of what a prick he's been the past 5 years.
Well, and I'm just saying that, and don't act all virtuous like you knew there was something wrong with the character after the fact when you should have said something at the time. I don't care.
Or that now that he's dropping out, he's doing this franchise a favor, because it's like, no, really, it shouldn't. The focus shouldn't be on me anymore. It should be on a newer generation. But I got to split, unfortunately, guys.
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Scribe, and plug your wares.
Yeah, so at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, after Latino Slant, or just overlapping slightly, go check out Latino Slant before me, of course, right after this. I got my next episode of DEI Death Watch. We have Minnesota Pride, the WWE, and Ohio State University are all having DEI controversies in the last week, and so take a look at those stories, as well as some other cheerleading of the subject from Forbes magazine, the last bastion of constant cheerleaders for DEI in the magazine world. So that'll be at 12:30, 3:30.
Yeah,
after Latino Slant.
Our stream will redirect to Scribe right after the Slant.
Yeah, so go over to the Slant after this.
Of course, also redirects to Slant, since we're talking
it's
about
one big daisy chain,
lazy
guys.
Ass don't have to do shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
stay right where you are. Chain yourself to the chair. You'll be fine all day.
Chris.
Thank you, Scribe. But somebody who isn't chained down is Chris, and he has to leave as well.
I do have
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a great Monday. It's been a great show as usual. Bleeding Fool's got a story on the Sesame Street Looney Tunes Pride push again, and in the morning we're actually going to talk a little bit about Sir Ian McKellen's 12th night.
Wait, the Looney Tunes did something?
Well, we just mentioned that they did it before.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I was curious if there was something.
And anybody out there, I know you, Tom, and Paul mentioned Quentin and Django, actually. And I don't know if you guys know, but back in 2015, Quentin Tarantino and Matt Wagner wrote a sequel to Django Unchained.
I did.
Crossover with Zorro. So he meets Zorro. They do an adventure. It's very good.
It was Andre who brought this to my attention, actually.
Yeah, it was a great idea. It was a great execution, and the art is great. And I bet you can find it on eBay for a song if you did not pick it up. But it's just the Django Zorro, and I've got the hardcover here. So anyhow, guys, I had a blast, and I'll see you again later this week.
Bye, Chris.
See you, fellas.
Take care.
Take care, Chris.
So yeah. We got some more. We got one more super chat here at the moment. We got Accident Celery says, friendly opinion. Your chat is overly kind of annoying as it blends into articles, the guest panel, etc. I think it's too cluttered.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, it's a new thing. We have to see what we can do about that. I agree. It's a little bit cluttered. None of us actually put it there. So we have to see what can be done about it in the back end.
Yeah, I can see if I can mess with it a little bit. And that's why I try to put like me or somebody else who's there. So you can actually see
I know
it.
Mikey hates having those on the screen with us.
I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. Let us know in your comments if you guys prefer it or don't prefer it.
Let us know. We'll do a poll on that on Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
I will do so now, but now we are about to round out here.
Yes, we are. So yeah, we have covered all of our main topics. Was there anything else anybody had to say about Mark Hamill?
I just wanted to, my thought is that it was so weird, the first J.J. Abrams movie, that the hand of Kathleen Kennedy must have been there to demand the slow pushing out of Luke, because you just got the sense that she hated Luke Skywalker as a character and needed to get rid of him.
She did say something along those lines. We did hear reports about that. But as far as the movie itself goes, J.J. Abrams was, him and the other writer, help me out, I can't remember who wrote it with him. Their whole initial plan was to make Luke Skywalker so important that the kind of like that whole the Jason Goes to Hell effect. And I know you probably
save him for the second movie.
Yes, and then what happened was the plan that he had set up, that he had outlined, Rian Johnson threw out the fucking window.
Right, and
so that was the problem. Yeah, see, Luke, as far as JJ was concerned, Luke was a very important character.
Okay.
See, that was the thing.
I can see, I did think of that too, is that, maybe, they're going to, they're saving Luke for the second movie for a big blowout. But on the other hand, we've talked about this already, missing the opportunity of putting the three of them together was a big mistake.
Right, and I think that was also JJ's mistake, because his plan was that each movie would kind of be about one of the classic characters. The first one was supposed to be Harrison Ford. The second one was supposed to be Carrie Fisher, and then it was supposed to be Luke. But again, Rian Johnson came in, threw it out the window. KK's like, go for it. And, initially Rey was meant to be either Han and Leia's other child that they hid from Kylo Ren, it sounds like, or
somehow
Kenobi.
Related to Kenobi, yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And all Rian Johnson wanted to do was make everybody's Snoke and Rey theory wrong.
And then, of course, Finn as a stormtrooper become a Jedi, which everyone loved. That idea.
Yeah, that was also part of the plan. Yep. Which is why at the end of part 3, JJ threw in there that he has some sort of force senses. Because that's all the third film is, as I call it, the world's most expensive Twitter war between directors.
Anyways, that was just my thought, but yeah, I can see the logic in that also.
No, I think initially the plan was to build Luke up to this whole thing. And then
I can see that too.
Yeah. And it just fell apart because JJ actually likes the original Star Wars films, for better or worse. Right? He is a fan. This was always his goal. He took Star Trek because it was close to Star Wars. And he made it more like Star Wars.
Right.
He may not understand exactly what makes Star Wars Star Wars. He knows how to make something look and sound and feel kind of like Star Wars.
Well, he did that. He managed to do that.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he can do that. He just doesn't have the substance, unfortunately, that goes into it. But that being said, we got Shanatsky, who's been a member for 35 months. Thank you for that, Shanatsky. We appreciate that. And with that, let's wrap this up. Paul, you just dropped a video about TV Guide and second seasons of streaming. Is there anything else you want to plug besides those?
No, that's it. I'm going to try to pull together
any appalling news.
And I've already dug out my 1989 TV Guide, so I'm going through that. I'll try to do that a little bit sooner than the other ones. I don't have 1990, so I have to go onto eBay and buy a copy of 1990.
Oh, interesting. Hopefully you can find one.
Oh, yeah, they're there. They're getting easier to find. It's the 60s ones that are nearly impossible to find. I don't necessarily want to go into the 60s.
Right. No, I don't blame you there. There's not many people who could probably click on.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
People are when I did my 70s series, they went, "Well, I wasn't born until the 90s. Can you just get up to there, please?"
Is that why your 80s ones has done a little better, I imagine?
So much for appreciating history.
I know.
Right. You know what you should do? You have like a PO box or anything on your channel? I bet you people would love to donate the TV guides if they have them.
If they have, well, I mean, on my channel they can get me at paulchato.com.
There you go. Do that if you have one that you may be able to donate and help Paul out. There you go.
Donate to 1990 TV Guide Fall Preview. Feel free to give me a poke at paulchato.com.
There you go. And maybe even if you have some of the other years you don't have, perhaps.
I've got a list of the ones I don't have. I've got all the way up to 2001, and honestly, I think I'm just going to end it there anyway.
Yeah, that's probably about right, because then you're getting close to streaming era and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, with that, Paulie, you got a show coming up, correct?
Yeah, let's go. Got a great topics lined up. We'll talk a little bit of what we were just going to kind of continue that conversation. But also, it's more importantly, this month, I don't know if you guys know, it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're going to have the actor Ignacio Cerricho live on with us. He was in The Mule with Clint Eastwood, Lost in Space, Bones. He's an incredible actor. He's got a foundation and a live concert coming up, all raising money for men's mental health awareness. Guy's incredible dude. We're going to have him on in the second hour, so stick around.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Do that.
Actually, I was going to talk to you about a few things because as Toxic Femininity is on hiatus,
I'm
thinking about firing up a show called Toxic Masculinity.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there.
Where we talk more male-related topics that are less entertainment-related, but also tangentially connected in some cases. But I don't know if we're going to start tonight necessarily, but we might.
All right, I'll call you later.
No, it's just summer, right? It's summer vacation. That's all.
Yeah. And I know I want to talk Mobland and some other things like that, if that is anything that interests some folks out there. But so check back for that. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to start tonight necessarily. Maybe we'll surprise you and drop one tonight, but if not, it will start for sure next week, hopefully. I still have some planning to do. I hadn't even really got a chance to talk to Andre about it yet, so this is a surprise to him. Although he did know we were going to try to plan something, but yeah.
I did know it was going to be something that we have spoken about.
But this was something I thought you may also want to stay up and participate in at least once or twice, but yes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's like...
We'll try to anyway.
I need to check out Mobland.
Times being what they are.
Yeah, I know.
I keep hearing great things about Mobland. I need to check it out.
Yes, but yeah, Paulie, you were definitely somebody I wanted to talk to about getting into the show. And see, Mecca J's already into that idea. See, there you go. And we got Snowdub who's up for it and stuff too. So yeah, we'll try to come up with some topics and ideas, and I'll try to come up with some panelists and people to pop in. And
I'm not manly enough for it.
No, not really, Paul.
No,
I'm kidding. You'd be always welcome, of course, if you want to join us. But with that, Andre, anything else before we get to the koalas?
I believe that is pretty much all. Be sure to check back. We won't have any more videos dropping today, but we should have videos drop tomorrow. So be sure to check back for that. I have no less than 3 different videos in the various stages of development. So,
which is why I don't want to commit to a show tonight.
So with that, check out all of our panelists. Check out all their channels. Links are in the description. Don't go anywhere because you'll head straight over to the Latino stand. And with that, bring on the koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala.